Welcome to Medieval Combat Training. I'm your host, Viscount Sir Gregor Hawk of the West, and today I will be working with my newest Squire Eirny. This drill will be building off one of her previous drills. She wanted to learn how to throw an off leg properly, so I am going to teach her how to cover measure when you notice that your opponent takes a big step into you so you can step into them and attack. During these stages of growth, I do not strike my candidates. It's mostly about them getting to feel the feels of learning how to do everything properly without somebody trying to club them into submission. One of the very biggest things you're going to notice about Eirny is she's not a linear fighter. She is very angly and sidesteppy. This is something I very much like in this candidate. She never had to start out trying to unthink being a linear fighter. She very much might start out coming in straight, but she will always pick her angle, or she will always sidestep you. This is the sign of an advanced fighter. And that right there is my proud moment being her knight. She sidestepped me so perfectly that instead of hitting me in the leg like she intended, she had such an angle that she actually hit me in the butt. And she did it again. The main reason why we are doing this drill is because Eirny herself was taking a big step in. She is a little lady, so she thinks she needs to take a big giant step to cover range. It's not so much about that, it's just about timing. Catching your opponent when they are taking a step so you can then take a half step. Half steps are safer to use. You have much more control over where you can go at any given moment. The other thing I love about this candidate is she has already taught herself to always clear in a defense. It's either going to be the tent block or the house block, but she will always do this. This is an amazing ingrained habit to have. It will always put you in a position to where if your opponent fires, they are likely going to fire into your defense, which is exactly what you want them to do. Alright, so her knight is exceptionally pleased with her performance on this last drill that we just did. Eirny picks everything up very quickly. I love this about her. Time for a new drill. This is going to be the second time I have worked with her on this one. It is going to be crossing the plane of the knees while throwing one single shot while you clear. Now, if you noticed on her first pass, she really didn't cross the plane. She kind of sidestepped right along the edge of the plane. Now, what I want to show her is you need to step at about a 45-degree angle past your opponent while you are throwing your shot. The shot lands the moment your foot lands past the plane of the knees. This is one of the very best ways to clear out from your opponent so they can't even begin to strike you. And as long as you're not firing more than that one single blow as you're crossing the plane, it is not considered corkscrewing, which is basically illegal within the SCA. So one of the things you're going to notice early on about this is Eirny is mostly trying to throw snaps as she's crossing the plane. Snaps are very good, although wraps are way better. She is just now starting to learn how to throw wraps, so right now we're going to keep practicing this with the snap until she basically gets frustrated because she can't hit her knight. Famous last words, I end up stuffing my foot in my mouth because I didn't have my daggone tent set properly. As you see, she fit that right in there. She actually hit me with both shots. I had to stop and laugh for a second. It was so freaking glorious. After much discussion about how awesome her last pass was, well, she basically does it again to me. Oh yeah, she might be a new fighter, but daggone does she have some freaking skills already. As the instructor, you're going to notice I go into a full house defense on the end here. Now, I don't recommend you ever really do this because the weakness is going to be the wrap. The thing is I know she's not going to throw that. She's going to be throwing a snap at me. On this last pass, I stick a tent block in the extreme range. I can't really block that any deeper. Both of those situations are exactly the same. They both tell me she doesn't have final foot placement right when she's crossing the line and firing that final blow. However, this time she got much deeper and she was able to get past my block. I'm going to test her again with an extreme house block because I know she's going to be firing a snap. That time she barely got deep enough. She did contact my sword, but also enough on the helmet. I take a moment to explain to her that the extreme house block is a footwork test. If she's going to throw a snap, she needs to get a little bit deeper when she's stepping past me, or she's going to throw right into my block. Alright, let's try another pass. Chances are she's going to either pick up on she needs to start throwing a wrap here pretty soon, or she needs to have her final foot placement correct, or she's just going to keep throwing into my defense. Again, she fires into my fully extended house block. I can't really go any further. If she picked up on the moment that if she just turned that snap into a wrap, I would definitely be dead meat. I cannot go any further. I cannot block anything but a snap in this moment. I am basically toast if she decides to throw a wrap. So now we are starting to talk about it. As a knight, I will teach my candidates basic knowledge, something like this, the strength and weaknesses of a weapon block. This is very crucial knowledge, and I will freely give this to my students. When I have a lesson to teach, I will tell them something like, I want you to throw 2 or 3 blows, starting or ending on a leg. Everything from that moment comes from them. This is Eirny's second encounter with her knight about the topic of the wrap. She recently asked me at our previous practice, how do I properly throw a wrap with hips and everything included without really hurting yourself, because the wrap really does need to totally come together or you can screw yourself up. Now this is something I really like about Eirny. She really likes to put in the practice over and over and over, practicing how the footwork, the shots, everything comes together until she really gets the feels for the moment. Now I want to explain to her here just in a little bit that it's not so much targeting the head as it is about the back. Your opponent will find it extremely difficult to block a wrap shot that hits the back cutting towards the heart. It is extremely hard to block, and when you get good at that, you're going to be very deadly. At this point, Eirny's made multiple passes at me demonstrating her hip mechanics and her wrap abilities and all that kind of jazz. The thing is when she's planting that leading foot, she's just not planting it deep enough. She's really having to reach for the wrap. I'm showing her commit to a deeper step. It's going to give you a much better angle. Looky there, she doesn't have to reach. Everything just comes together. Earlier, you were seeing a lot of passes where she was going at me full speed. This was basically a lesson of know myself and know my opponent. I knew that her final shot when she was trying to cross the line and clear would be snaps. So I was always committing to blocks that I knew if she didn't have proper foot placement, she wouldn't be able to get past those blocks. As a knight, I like most of the lessons that we go over during the day to come directly from them. Their ideas, their things that they want to work on. The only thing I'll do is really point out the basics to them. Things like footwork, defenses, blocks, attacks, things that I consider the basics. I also consider myself the onion knight. I like to teach all my candidates in layers. Right now you'll notice before we were going full speed, we were actually in full learning mode right now. She's trying to learn all the proper mechanics to properly throw the wrap and where she wants her foot to end up when she brings it all together. To try to practice that in an environment where your opponent is actually trying to hit you, in my opinion, is counterproductive. I give all my candidates the opportunity to practice all they want to practice on me, whatever they want to practice on me, knowing that I am never going to strike them. But they do know their knight will point out the basics or weaknesses after I give them the opportunity to discover that truth within themselves. The one truth I certainly can bank on, knowing Eirny how I do, she's going to take this lesson to heart, and all this slow work that we did, all this practice with her footwork, getting her position set up just right, she's going to take all this knowledge and go right to her pail at her house, and she's going to practice that. Day in, day out. And the next time I ask her, hey Squire, what would you like to work on today? I better not count on extending fully into house and fully into a tent block. Because I have a feeling her angles are going to be a lot better, her final foot placement's going to be better, and those shots are going to come in a lot crisper, and they're not just going to be the snap. Hopefully this video helped you with how to work with another partner, both being the teacher as well as the student. Our first lesson was about crossing measure. When your opponent makes a step into you, you step into them at an angle. That part came from me. What Eirny wanted to work on while doing that was working on the off leg. She wanted to practice that. That all came from her. Second drill, we focused on how to cross the plane of the knees effectively as well as legally by throwing one single shot as you clear. However she engaged me, whatever blows she threw, however she decided to finally end up, all that stuff was on her. Well done, Eirny Vidor's daughter. You make your knight proud.